A very good morning and a warm welcome to this last session of the last day of a 4 day conference. Um, to begin with, I must thank the organizers, the India Energy Week, as well as FIPI and the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, DMG Events, for inviting me over to co-chair this session along with my co-chair, um, Dr. Puneet. We also have a very distinguished panel um, who is going to cover a variety of topics under the session operations and risk management. On my behalf and my behalf of my co-chair as well as the panelists, I thank you for being with us today. I know Indian Energy Week and earlier Petrotech used to, what was that earlier name? Does offer a lot of alternatives and opportunities. So we are very, very grateful to you to be with us today. And that actually encourages people to speak. Otherwise, it's difficult to speak to an empty hall. So let's begin the session. As you know, it's under the general theme of refining and petrochemicals technology, operations, and marketing. And most of the lectures, as you would have seen, are in the petrochemical area, more to do with the polymer and polymer precursors like propylene, ethylene. But the first lecture is a bit different. It is more to do with energy price risk management in oil and gas industry and hedge accounting. So it stands out as compared to what follows after this. And speaking on this very interesting topic, we have two speakers. Ruchi Shukla, she's head energy, multi commodity exchange of India Limited, and Rohit Agarwalji, who is director finance, CPCL. Let me give a very, very brief introduction to both. Rohit ji is actually, as you know, Director Finance of CPCL, and most of the people from CPCL come from Indian Oil, and Rohit is not an exception, and therefore he has worked in almost all the refineries of Indian Oil, a chartered accountant, and having a master's degree in MBA. Ruchi is presently heading energy products at MCX, and she is also a chartered accountant with 20 years of experience. Her career expanding across financial and capital markets, product development, and regulators and risk management. So let us look forward to a very interesting presentation. So over to you, Agrawalji and Ruchi.
So, as Sir has already highlighted, this is a very different session across the 4 days where we have been at the India Energy Week. So, what we are talking about is risk management, but particularly in relation to the energy prices, which all of us sitting here really understand, yeah, how volatile these markets are, including both our crude oil or natural gas and the linked up byproduct prices. On. So this slide will just lay down, we all are aware sitting here, how on the finance side, on the forex risk, wherein all the companies, give it a private sector or the public sector, we are bound to manage our forex risk because there are stringent regulatory guidelines for the same. So the green line down is really indicating how the forex risk has flown over the last 8 years. So anywhere it's not on an average has not annualized has not been more than 4 to 5%. So this is what we have managed always, and what the companies tend to keep open is the higher version of the risk of the crude oil and natural gas prices, which on an average, on an annualized volatility basis, are not less than 40% year on year basis. That's the open risk we face, but this is in Indian markets, this risk management has yet not developed as a culture. Though going down the line, we'll see how regulators, along with the companies, are actually moving, pushing us towards managing the same. So this is a step taken by SEBI as a regulator. Most of you present here may be from the listed companies, so LODR regulations. Now this mandate comes in the annual report, wherein besides your forex risk, you got to have a table on your commodity prices. So any of the companies which is exposed to the risk has to declare which commodities they are exposed to, how much is the exposure, is it kept open ended, or is it managed, and how is it being hedged across. So that's a step taken by SEBI, and believe me, we have, since it was introduced in 2018, we have been conducting a research on top 500 listed companies. And the first 2 years, if you can imagine, take it a steel company, take it an airlines company. We all know sitting here how airline prices have always been on a rise, but still airline industry in India have shown losses and many of them have shut down. Now, I don't say this is the only factor, but this is a major factor considering the jet fuel constitutes around more than
Good noon, ladies
40%
and gentlemen. We
of
welcome
their
you to third edition of IEW
of their
2025.
operational costs.
The show timings for today are from
Just
10 a.m. to 5 p.m. All visitors, exhibitors, and delegates are required to wear their badges at all times. Children below 18 years will not be allowed inside the halls. Please take care of your belongings. Thank you.
so if we say कि jet fuel oil prices are a pass through, because ultimately the ticket prices are always on a rise. We have never seen prices going down, and on the seasons the prices are going beyond the ranges. But still, due to this operational risk and an unmanaged
You can
risk,
handle the time part.
this affects the
Yeah.
ultimate profitability and even the existence of the
I think
company.
that's the clock.
Now, we are talking about energy transition, the sustainability factor. So, what I want to stand here and say, why not sustainability of the corporates as well on a long term basis? Why do we see companies shutting down? This is one example of airline industry. We pick it up a glass industry. We use a lot of glass in our lives each day. Now, post the Russia-Ukraine war, now near to Delhi there is Firozabad. Everyone, each one of you must be aware, where there are very very small factories being put up in a small spaces. Now, those guys will not know what risk management is, but they are exposed to the prices of natural gas. And believe me, the Glass Association has come to us. We have gone there and we've conducted sessions for them. And only because the risk was unmanaged, many of them have literally shut down. Many small scale sectors are SME, MSMEs had to shut down because they could not survive those high prices of natural gas. So that's a kind of risk management which has to flow, and it has to start the culture from top to bottom. The culture needs to drill down. And we are happy even RBI has started recognizing commodity prices as one of the key risks, which has come for the first time in December 2022 report. And so risk is there. There is a way to manage it, which is called hedging. Yes, pass through is also sort of hedging because if there's an increase in the cost, you can push it down. So that's a one component. But you may have long term contracts also. That's another component. But there are derivative instruments which give you a lot of flexibility to manage this risk. All the companies needs flexibility. When you enter into long term contracts, it's a fixed contract, fixed pricing, which will again not help you to actually hedge the risk on your books. So, what does derivative instruments bring to the table are? One is they are standardized contracts. So there is price discovery happening. There's a price transparency because the trades which are happening are anonymous across. Plus, the most important factor in today's, besides OTC, I would compare is the novation, the counterparty credit risk. You have a zero counterparty credit risk because our clearing corporations are providing you novation on each contract you enter into. So that is what derivatives bring into. And now in Indian markets, we have at MCX, which is we are under the regulatory regime of SEBI, we have commodity derivative contracts in crude oil and natural gas, which have a high liquidity. And high liquidity does not mean, actually, it brings into its easy entry and exit. So now when I say hedging, it doesn't mean I take a position today and I can sit across for the next part of the year. It has to be dynamic hedging because the world is moving faster. So actually, Rohit sir is really coming to bring to us how you can like while you bring in this hedging, how you can bring it into the big books because hedging is also a cost. So always companies are having a cost factor in mind, but leaving the last thought in the mind is each one of you sitting here would be having a pure term insurance. Can you raise your hands who have pure term insurance? Pure term life insurance. We are not getting anything back out of that premium, right? So the cost of hedging is the insurance premium you pay for the sustainability of your companies. So with thought, with because of the shortage of time, yeah, just running through, there are stringent regulations. It is not a satta. First of all, it is not a satta. It is not a speculation. If you are doing a hedging transaction, there are stringent regulations which the exchanges have to follow under the regime of SEBI. And we have, basis your needs, we have different contracts, a major contract of 100 barrels. We have also introduced a mini contract on the need of SME, MSME companies, the 10 barrel contract. Similarly, in natural gas also, we have two, one major, 1250 MMBTU and a 250 MMBTU contracts. Just give a thought when you go from here, keep that risk management in mind, and please come back to us whenever you need any help on that. We are more than happy to be helpful. Now, I just set the stage to Rohit sir. Thank you so much.
Hello, and you can help?
The same presentation.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Ruchi. So let me start with a anecdote, a kind of conversation that happens in boards and top management on hedging. You know, it's no foreign, not unknown that large oil companies are open to volatility and variance and risks. And they understand this, they want to do hedging. But when we were discussing, long why it is not happening, so the director of finances I'm telling my team to do hedging, but they're a little worried because any adverse effect will show distinctly as a separate head in P&L. We all know one leg will go to the item, the other leg will go to the instrument. But because instruments are to be fair valued, that impact will be seen. So some of the traders, even if they are given mandate from management, the issue while going for a real hedging is how I'll be judged. So again, we'll come out with a solution. How do you look at it? Let's go to another practical insight. Why you are doing hedging? You are doing hedging so that the volatility is arrested. But the problem today is not only volatility over a large period. We go for quarterly results. So the volatility is seen quarterly. So does hedging instrument solve your problem of quarterly volatility? No. The hedge item and the hedge instrument may vary differently. And that is where, suppose you want to manage both volatility as well as quarterly reporting, then what do you need to do? Let's move forward. So I thought, let's look at some data, how people are doing it. So this is, actual data, but companies' names are not mentioned. So the refinery margin exposure monthly is to this magnitude. So 4,000, 2,000 to 4,000 per month, kind of margin exposure that exists. And the inventory exposure. And see the quantum of hedging that is being done today. And that is how I thought I'll start with these two anecdotes on practicality and what kind of discussion that happens in a boardroom. So that it is not that the intent is not there, but from the intent to the execution, a lot of things needs to be done. And then let's also understand opportunity, because if there is no opportunity, it is not beneficial to a company. Why someone will look at it? Because it is complex, it is risky, a lot of compliances exist there, so see the opportunity. So Brent Dubai differential. Brent is the high sulfur kind of a crude. Dubai, sorry, reverse. Brent is a lighter kind of, and Dubai is the heavier. And 23 months, it was opposite. So a lot of opportunity where you are getting the lighter crude, cheaper. Can you go every time and tap the physical market? Not possible. There are S&D. There are so many other issues that are involved. Can you go to the financial market and lock them? Perhaps possible. Naphtha cracks. Normally naphtha cracks are below crude. 10-year average is minus 10. But you had opportunities between 0 to 4. Again, can you lock? Does it impact? Yes. Naphtha volumes could be 10 to 15%. Some will have petrochemical, but some may not have. Third, natural gas. Normally, you will see forward prices, with interest factor, but you see a lot of times backwardation there. So opportunity exists, yes. Large bucket of opportunity exists. Can you tap these opportunities in the physical market? Perhaps not. Very difficult, because there'll be contracts, there'll be transportation, there'll be liquefaction. So many parts for a physical processing. So large opportunity exists. So, so this pointer is, suppose you want to hedge and also look at quarterly profitability stabilization, and your hedge item and the hedge
1 minute
instrument
left.
need to move together, then what you can do? You can look at cash flow hedge. What is happening? Your volatility is moving from PNL to OCI reserve. So your PNL, quarterly PNL is also not impacted. Again, people will tell you this will be cumbersome, there'll be documentation, there'll be all those issues. I think these are worth it. And all this documentation and the processes are pretty flexible. It allows you to, to take care of the nuances that the business requires. Only someone has to go through it. These are not compulsory. These are voluntary things. It has been done in respective companies, to come out and, take advantage of this. And that is where it is. I feel risk management needs to go a long way. And I'll leave one last thought. If you want, if you feel India is a consumption center and price setting should happen in India, think about the role of risk management in price setting. I feel that's the point we need to move forward, but certainly we need to analyze, take into account everything that is possible, and move forward in the right earnest. Thank you all.
Thank you, Rohit, and thank you, Ruchi, for this insightful session about risk, commodities, hedging. Very, very important in any company which is buying a lot of commodities. And that's why, as a consultant, when I look at financials of these companies, I don't look at quarterly results. I look at operational results and also add in the volatility. Now, from volatility to risk management, let's go into the hardcore process technology. We have the next speaker, Mr. Manish Saraswat, who is an account manager with Linden Bassel Industries. He carries around 35 years of experience across marketing and technology, and his sphere of experience ranges across asset management, strategic management, product stewardship, and projects. And he has launched many petrochemical products, petrochemical and polymer products. His topic is metosine propylene process technology. Over to you, Manish.
Good afternoon. So I think it's noon now. Yeah. So we will be talking about this recent progress in catalyst process technology. And the whole idea is I have come all the way to help Indian industry to meet the vision of Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi of Atmanirbhar Bharat. How can we get the product which can be made in India after listening this and which is currently not being made in India. So this is the key thing and this is the key agenda of this talk. Before I take you through or before you make any financial decision based on these slides, these information, please read this disclaimer. My lawyers love it. So the agenda, I said only, the only agenda is how to help industry in Make in India. That is the only agenda. And before we talk about who we are, so we are highly technology oriented industry which keep on working to bring solutions for the current issues, day-to-day issues in the industry and so on. So this is our brief introduction. We are having, in the technology division, we are having 3 core pillars: catalysts for polyolefin, licensing, and technology services. Our core R&D centers are based in Germany, Italy, and in US. So mainly core R&D is based from Europe and US for all the services, whether it is technology services, licensing, and catalysts. This is our DNA, and this is very important. We started this industry from a Nobel Prize winning chemistry long back in 1953-54, and since then we keep on innovating new process technologies, starting from SDB, POTBA, and so on. And if we are talking about which is the latest PP production technology, that is the Spherizone technology, which is the latest polyethylene process technology, that is the Hyperzone technology. So it shows that we are still continuously, consistently working in developing new technologies. And it reminds me one of the big statement coming from PM Narendra Modi. Na thake, na jhuke, and continuously we kept on working. We kept on working, and we are so humble that even after getting so much awards, so much recognition in the industry, we keep on working. So today my scientists, while I am talking here, my scientists are still working on the solutions which will be the solutions for the next decades. So this is the DNA of the industry actually for my company. Now I take you through that in the catalyst development, we are not only looking catalyst polymerization, we are also taking care how these polymer will be processed in the industry and how the industry will be using them and what will happen to this polymer after its end use completes. So we are thinking of entire production cycle. So this is a core that how we develop these catalysts. So in polypropylene, this Giglanata was the hardcore catalyst, but this catalyst time is over. So this catalyst is being replaced by next generation catalysts, which are non-phthalate catalysts. And among the non-phthalate catalysts, the one which is most prominent and which gives the advantage to the industry, which helps the community to get cleaner polypropylene. So like this catalyst can help you, diether catalyst can help you in getting 100 MFR, 125 MFR reactor grade, it means the next time the cup in which you are drinking water will be more cleaner, will not have the residues of peroxide if the processor of polymer is using this diether catalyst. So this is the value. So this is the way that how these minor things touch your day-to-day life. There is a spun-bond grade, and if we are producing this spun-bond grade is the product is used which was used in the mask. And if this product was made by using a phthalate catalyst, the older one, the uniform, the wall thickness, this fiber thickness was not uniform as shown in this picture on the left hand side. But if diether was used as a catalyst for production of this polypropylene, there was a uniform fiber thickness, and it makes a lot of impact in getting those physiomechanical properties from that fiber. So these are the critical things which are important. I think these pictures you have seen in your house, everywhere. And the product, the polymer which can be used for this can be best produced by only using succinate catalyst. So this is how this catalyst is impacting our day-to-day life. Because this Ziegler-Natta catalyst was being widely by all PP producers worldwide, so we also developed a non-phthalate catalyst which can replicate the same molecular weight distribution like Ziegler-Natta catalyst. Now the key thing, the key topic for today's talk is metosine catalyst. Metosine, in the metosine catalyst, the reaction is taking place where we want. Normally in the polymer industry, you will see that we are getting some side product which we don't want. But because the chemical reaction is taking place, that's why they exist. And if we are using a metosine catalyst, which is having the site for the reactions, and that is why we call it single site correctors. And this reaction is taking place only at that point, and that is the beauty of this catalyst. And the impact is that there is a phenomena called warpage in the product. And just to understand that warpage, if you try to see that sometimes your lid is not fitting well, so that is not fitting well because the plastic product has deformed, and that is called warpage. So like in a battery container case, you can imagine that if the battery container lid is kept it, but there is because of warpage, acid is going from one cell to the another cell, and it is spoiling wherever this battery is left there. So to avoid this, if the industry is using metosine catalyst, this kind of problems will be ruled out forever, and there is no warpage actually. So this is the concept. Now if we are talking about the clean polymer for the uses of mask product which are produced for the mask, for the doctor gowns, the product which is not having the residue of peroxide, then metosine catalyst is the only solution for that. We can produce polymer up to 2300 MFR in the reactor, and that is the beauty of this catalyst. We have also a catalyst for polyethylene, so for production of P100 pipe, which are used for the transformation of gas, water, and so on, and for film also. There's a huge demand for this product. So that's why we keep on increasing, and recently we have doubled our production capacity in Germany and in US. These are our production and storage locations. So it means we can supply these products from any part of the world. And it is more relevant today than it was yesterday. because of these geopolitical situations, you never know which route will be blocked, which route will not be available to you, like recently what has happened in Red Sea. So that's why it is very important that your supplier is having multi-supply locations, which ensures that you will be getting your product in time. So now I take you to the licensing opportunities. So we have a Spheripol, Spherizone, and now today we will be focusing mainly on Metocene, which we are offering in Metocene PP processability licensing opportunity for Spheripol lines. And as I said, these PP which are being produced by using Metocene, these are the cleanest polymer available, cleanest PP, and we are already using it in one of our plant in US. We are already using it for last many decades, and recently in South Korea, one of the joint venture, they are using it for last more than 10 years. So this is how this is the technology which is available now for Indian market, and we are offering it that industry can opt for Metocene PP technology through Spheripol. This is the key thing, and as I said that in the Spherizone, which is the latest technology for production of polypropylene, it gives you an edge that currently whatever product you are making out of polypropylene. But if you are using this technology, you can reduce the grammage of polymer. So if you are making a pipe, say for a particular length of pipe, the grammage is 10 gram, you can reduce the wall thickness if you have produced that PP by using this technology. So it helps in putting the polymer, less polymer in the ground. And the beauty is within the one loop, we divide this one loop into the two reactor. So at the same time, so this is not a one reactor. With a push of a button, it becomes two reactor, and then different chemical reaction is taking place. And this kind of a onion-like structure, such a homogeneous polymer can be produced only by this technology. And this is the latest technology for production of differentiated polypropylene. In LDP, we have two technologies. One is the tubular one, and another one is autoclave. We are talking about solar energy, and this EVA and this LDP. This is one of the polymer which is very critical for solar energy. These panels, they use this EVA and this LDP for the solar energy. So these are the options. Now we come to the last one, that is the hostylene ACP technology. In polymer, sometimes we have seen that if we are increasing one of the property, the other property goes down. In hostylene ACP, like one of the example, if I say, if we are reducing
1 minute left.
If we are reducing the SDP, if we are reducing the density, then ESCR property, which shows that how long this pipe will survive in the underground and so on, these properties increase. But if we increase the density, this ESCR goes down. Only in this technology, we can push both the properties upwards. So it means with the density, we are also increasing the ESCR. So this is the kind of advantage of having the right technology for producing those products which are not being produced currently in India. We have catalysts for all type of PP technologies, for SDP, for PP, and not only for our licensing, but all third parties licensing, we have the catalyst. So I will be leaving my contact details for licensing guy and for myself. And we are always available to help the industry, to help India in their Make in India vision. Thank you very much. Thanks for giving me this time.
Thank you, Manish, for taking us through recent catalyst technologies in PP. It's very interesting to know about warp age factor, how and what are the new products or new capabilities and new application we can consider in the Indian market. Very interesting to know about the product portfolio capabilities of Linden Basel also. So now we have the next speaker, Mr. Brian Heasley. He is the head of refining and clean fuels at KBR. He carries around more than 15 years of experience across the industry in process technology, licensing, catalyst. Currently, he's responsible for managing 20 different technologies across FCC, ROC, SDA, etc., etc. He's going to talk about smart deployment of KBR technology solutions for improving petrochemical yield. We invite Brian to take up the stage, please.
Thank you for the introduction, and thanks to the IEW for inviting me to speak here today. Interesting topic. I think if you attended the last session, there were several discussions on crude to chemicals concepts and technologies. My presentation is a little more around the strategy. So at KBR, we have a number of technologies, actually over 80 technologies, spanning multiple different segments, and many of them are geared towards both refining and petrochemicals production. A little bit about KBR first. So we're headquartered in Houston, Texas, have quite a global footprint. And we have really two main businesses. We have the government side, which is the mission technology solutions, and we have the everything else, if you will, engineering and licensing, that's the sustainable technology solutions. We have about 37,000 people in total, and a little bit more about the sustainable technologies business. So we have, many of you may be familiar with our legacy EPC business. We do, although we don't typically do lump sum turnkey engineering anymore, we do high value engineering, feed, detail engineering. On the left is the licensing business, which I'm a part of, and the 80 technologies that I mentioned. In the middle, the integrated solutions business is doing detailed engineering, feed, and EPCM. We'll do construction management, but not EPC. And then on the right is infrastructure solutions. So KBR is involved in a lot of infrastructure projects around the world. These include roads, water supply, and many other projects. Within the technology portfolio, so there's quite a list, over 80 technologies listed here. We're well known in ammonia technology. We have over 50% market share. Some of those technologies are key in the energy transition with blue, green ammonia. Refining and clean fuels is about 20 technologies. So we have very much kind of a mixture of legacy refining technologies and then newer renewable clean fuel technologies. So we're very strong in bottom of the barrel upgrading, fluid catalytic cracking, and then we have sustainable aviation fuel, clean alkylation technology, and some newer clean fuels technologies. Olefins is another strength area for us. So we do have a steam cracking technology that is a legacy from ExxonMobil, but KBR licenses it and has improved the technology quite a bit. Essential materials is kind of going further downstream. So this is making derivatives. So we do get involved in phenol, VAM, maleic anhydride, and other pathways. Critical minerals is a newer business line for us where we have a number of solutions for lithium, actually, direct lithium extraction, lithium purification, and battery recycling. And then lastly, the plastics recycling technology we have we're very excited about. It's a unique water-based hydrothermal liquefaction technology, HydroPRT, and our first unit's actually starting up as we speak in the UK. On to crude oil to chemicals. So there's many different flavors of crude to chemicals and integrating the refinery with petrochemicals. So there's really, if you think about it, a spectrum of possibilities, and we like to plot this on a complexity versus benefits. So many refineries, they find themselves at the minimal integration level, meaning they may have an FCC with some propylene make, but they're not making high purity chemical grade propylene. They don't have any traditional petrochemical units like a steam cracker. As we move up the complexity benefits to the kind of 2 to 15% chemicals make, we need to add some sort of a unit that'll make more chemicals, right? So either high severity FCC, or KBR has a technology called KCOT, catalytic olefins, that I'll talk about in a future slide, but you really need to push primarily the naphtha molecules, right, into chemicals as we move up. The next level is major level of integration, and this is where refiners will take a much bigger step into integrating with petrochemicals, and this is where the investment goes up by quite a bit. We will be adding more traditional petrochemicals units into the refinery at this level. Why the range is so wide, 15 to 60%, is because you can vary quite a bit in that range, and really it's a question of do I destroy finished fuels, which is a difficult proposition to make. So I can make 60% chemicals out of a traditional refinery with a steam cracker, but it may come at the cost, right, of taking away some of the fuel product. And then lastly, we have full conversion, or what many would call COTC, and that's really pushing the conversion to the highest level. These are purpose-built facilities, very expensive, highly integrated, and they involve both a mixture of refining and traditional petrochemicals units. So what KBR has is really a unique flexibility to take any type of feedstock, shown on the left here, to a number of different petrochemical and fuel products. We call these our crude oil to chemicals enabling technology. So the first one is our steam cracking technology. Is quite flexible in terms of what it can take. It can be within the same furnace, you can take gas all the way up to gas oil arranged material. And that makes our technology quite a bit unique. And also the yields, even with the heavier feed, are still preserved quite high. So very flexible technology, and obviously geared towards making light olefins and BTX. K-Pro is an FCC-based on-purpose propylene technology, so PDH. Next is KCOT, our catalytic olefins technology. This is another unique technology in the market. It's taking C4s, naphtha. What makes it really unique is that we can take even difficult to process streams like coker naphtha, streams that haven't been hydrotreated, right? It's going to an FCC-based technology, so it's really feed tolerant. Then we have an aromatics extractive distillation technology, fairly conventional, but quite important when you get into these integration opportunities. Maxifin is our high severity FCC technology, so it uses multiple risers to achieve higher petrochemical make. So we basically decouple the traditional gas oil cracking from, say, naphtha or C4 cracking. And the reason we do that is because different feeds prefer different cracking severity or temperatures, right, to achieve a certain high yield. And then we have our solvent deasphalting technology, very well known in industry. We have over 65 licensed units. And this is not making petrochemicals, but when we talk about crude oil to chemicals, solvent deasphalting is quite important in lifting residue material to chemicals. And then lastly, we have a slurry hydrocracking technology in conjunction with BP. And this is the oldest slurry hydrocracking technology on the market. It actually goes back to the 1930s, originally developed for coal. We have 3 units in operation, and this can achieve 95+% conversion of vacuum residue, gas oil type materials, and can lift it actually all the way to naphtha. So there's some key questions that you need to address when you look at building a crude oil to chemicals complex, or even look at integrating an existing refinery with chemicals. So first of all, how much chemicals should we make? And that's a very, very important question. I think initially when COTC concept came out, everyone was thinking about pushing it to the highest level possible. What we found is that there's an optimal level, and it's somewhere around this 20 to 35, 40% range. As we push the chemical conversion higher, although it's technically possible, the economics become unfavorable because it's very expensive, and the destruction of fuels actually becomes a negative economic impact. Which chemicals to make is very important, depending on the local market. Light olefins, BTX, are the common major components of it, but it's also important to look at the other derivatives you can produce in the C4 range, and maybe some other applications. They're also quite important. What level of fuels make going along with the chemicals make is important, and what type of fuels do you want to make? And what flexibility do you want to have to swing between, say, naphtha or distillate? Traditional refineries have this flexibility, but you want to build it in from the beginning. And then lastly, what sort of capital do you have available? These projects can get quite expensive. We're talking about a grassroots facility. So making sure you have that capital constraint in mind from the beginning is important. So we like to organize a strategy for how to approach COTC by crude type, because a lot of the COTC will be, the changes you'll see will be in bottom of the barrel, right? Heavier crudes are more difficult to process. The bottom of the barrel technologies required for a heavy crude are very different from, say, a light crude or a condensate. So for a heavy crude, we can run very heavy crudes through our VCC technology on bottom of the barrel. So SDA, slurry hydrocracking would be our recommendation. Those will continue even for the medium crude, but a light crude, we can get away with a lot of times just the solvent deasphalting unit or feeding an RFCC. On the right, the condensate type feed, which I mentioned, our SCORE technology can take very heavy feed. So we actually have references, steam crackers that are running condensate directly with minimal treatment. And then there's all different combinations in between, right? So this is kind of the general strategy by crude type. So to illustrate just one example with a particular crude type, we picked a medium crude here. This is a fairly conventional scheme that you'd find in a lot of refineries, maybe in India as well, where you have delayed coker on bottom of the barrel, FCC, and then we're adding a steam cracker here to achieve higher chemical make. We get to about 35% chemicals make with this. Ethylene propylene ratio is 1.35. There's a couple different drawbacks to this though. We lose some yield right from the carbon rejection scheme, so we lose some valuable product from the delayed coking, carbon rejection, and FCC. And then it's difficult really to push this scheme higher than 35%. You're really kind of constrained. To get higher than that, you'd have to start destroying, say, diesel or finished naphtha product. So we have a couple alternate schemes that we're proposing here that have benefits. So this is a little bit of a twist on the last scheme that I showed, where instead of having the delayed coker on bottom of the barrel, we now just have the solvent deasphalting unit. This is a high lift solvent deasphalting unit, so typically we can get up to say 75, 80% lift. That actually enables the pitch from the solvent deasphalting unit to be solidified. and that can also go to pet coke. So this is a much cheaper option to get to a pet coke product, to lift a little more bottom of the barrel material, and this is significantly cheaper capital requirement. The next one is a bit of hydrogen addition with the same as the last scheme, but now we're using hydrocracker rather than an FCC. Here we can get to higher chemicals make. This one with the hydrocracker, you can envision lifting more naphtha in the future and getting this conversion up over 60%. And the chemicals make again is 39% here. And then lastly, we have a kind of a full conversion option, right? So putting in our slurry hydrocracking technology with solvent deasphalting, this is the ultimate in terms of conversion. We show 42% here is kind of an optimal level, but this can certainly be pushed greater than 60%. Several features of this are the recycling of the pyrolysis fuel oil to the slurry hydrocracker. We can convert that. It shows diesel make right now, but you can also add gasoline units, traditional gasoline units to this. A quick economic summary. So you can see the ethylene to propylene ratio varies across these. We were trying to illustrate, right, the flexibility in our technologies with all three schemes. There are economic benefits to all of these schemes. NPV is higher than the base case with the delayed coker. You can see particularly scheme 1 is cheaper and it has higher NPV. The other two schemes a little bit more expensive, but better return on investment.
Time up, please.
Okay, last slide. So in summary, KBR is very strong with our full suite of crude oil to chemicals, enabling technologies. We have tremendous feed and product flexibility, and we're quite experienced. KBR has been around for over 100 years, executing projects, over 1,000 projects. And we can really take on full scope of a project from all the way from concept to detailed engineering. And with that, thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, feel free to find me after or reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, for giving us a very interesting overview and an idea of how to reduce scope 3 emissions, particularly to maximize petrochemicals and to reduce fuel make from our refining and petrochemical units. The fourth presentation is from Dr. Yogeshwar Thackeray. He is going to talk to us. He's from Reliance Research and Development. He's Senior General Manager, and his areas of specialization is in polyolefins, polyvinyl chloride, and specialty polymers. His topic of talk today is on oil to petrochemicals, the flagship technology of Reliance called RELCAT for polymerization of propylene to advanced polypropylene grades. So over to you, Yogeshwar.
Good afternoon, all. Thank you for nice introduction, Dr. Garg, and thank you DMG Events for providing this opportunity. Today I'm talking here on behalf of Dr. VK Gupta, who could not make to come here. So I'll try to convey you his message in this flagship technology development, the initiatives of the Reliance. We are listening more about the Make in India for Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant. I'll go one step ahead here, like invent in India, make in India for self-reliant India. So I'll be briefing one of the success story here of Reliance, what we have done in the area of polypropylene to be a self-reliant. This is the disclaimer statement. Whatever the comments or observations is of the presenter and organization may not be necessarily echo with the same. I'll be taking you through the what are the developments in oil to polymers then Reliance polypropylene catalyst technology. What are the different grades that Reliance offers or produces using this the developed technology and way forward in this area. This is about Reliance. We are a Fortune 500 company and in India's largest and most valuable corporate with more than $240 billion market capitalization, more than $100 billion revenue, and more than $20 billion EBITDA. We had a significant transition from B2B to B2C in last 10 years, and there are other the knowledge what we are in Reliance. This is about the growth platforms, different businesses. What we are into digital services. We are into retail. We are into O2C as well as the new energy. And today the topic is more about the innovations and the commercialization journey in the area of O2C. This is all about the growth engines for sustainable value creation. Oil to chemical to polymer. If you see the development journey of polymer, there are a variety of polymers developed made with thermoplastic, thermosets, elastomers, or we can say the engineering polymers. So there are a variety of polymers designed for specific end-use application, which are very what we can say the critical or the key characteristics they are having. So these all polymer are produced using different chemistries as well as different processes and involves different type of the reactor configurations to produce this polymer. And if you see the whole what we can say the bunch of polymers, polyolefins are the majority here. If you see today around more than 200 million tons of polyolefins are being produced globally. So this sector of polymer is majorly dominated by the polyolefins. Uh, and if you see the emerging growth sector, these are contributing more and more with the time as the time advances. Uh, Now narrowing down to polyolefins, it consists of the polyethylene as well as polypropylene. And if you see the application portfolio of this polymer, they are into major applications like agriculture. We can say mulch film, we can say the nets, and the other like pipe and all. They are having utilities into the infrastructure, health industry, transportation. Now transportation is one of the emerging area where with the advancement of what we can say the energy and the evolution of the EVs, lightweighting of the vehicle is one of the most sought after the area, and polymers, especially polyolefins, are making big way in this. There are other polymers in the energy transition. We heard that there EVA is like being used in the solar panels, and after EVA there are other class of material like polyolefin elastomer that is making way in the more advancement in the solar panel industry, as well as there are or various specialty polymers developed where we can say the high molecular weight polyethylene, polypropylene, which are like very the candid material for the defense, where they can be used in the military jackets and bulletproof vest and all. There is a lot of opportunity of this bigger area of the polyolefins for innovation, say it all the what we can say the total value chain. This is about the Reliance, the catalyst technology for polypropylene. We call it as a RelCat. So it's a magnesium alkoxide supported catalyst where the titanium is the active component, and there are electron donors incorporated into it. Okay, so it is developed for the different what we can say the product grades or product baskets of the polymer. If you see in polypropylene, there are three major grades like homopolypropylene, random, and then impact copolymers of polypropylene. So at Reliance, we have conceptualized this technology in India, developed, research, developed, and then we moved from bench to pilot to commercial plant. And if you see at the right side, there are the plants to produce this precursor which is required for the catalyst, then making catalyst, producing this catalyst in the Reliance itself and using those catalysts in the different plants at different sites of the Reliance. So and this all technology is covered in the patents, and it's our flagship technology for the polypropylene. Now, it is based, if you see, there are different stages in the catalyst, like when the monomer, that is propylene, gets converted into polypropylene. There are the various intermediate steps, and the catalyst need to be designed so that I get a right kind of polymer, right kind of the molecular arrangement of monomers in that. And in polypropylene, the catch is we have a different arrangement of the monomer. So there is something called the tacticity, which plays very important role here, and designing catalysts to get the desired level of stereoregularity or isotacticity is the key in designing catalysts here. And here we moved to different generation. If you see in polyolefin, especially in polypropylene, there are around six step growth or fold the developments in technology, what we call is a generation. So the first generation catalysts were having the low productivity, then there are improvements of the high productivity catalysts, and then there are next level of developments where there are the phthalate free catalysts for the clean polymers that are being sought. And we have moved through this chain, and now we are in the stage where we are producing most of our polypropylene using our own developed catalyst. So this is a simplified view of our catalyst production process. So there are two stage of unit operation, and around 11 to 12 stages are the reaction steps are carried out in this what simplified process that I have shown here. So there is a precursor, which is a support for the catalyst, because it's a heterogeneous catalyst where the active component is supported for the better performance. So then there are solvent, the donors required for controlling the reaction kinetics, as well as the stereoregulatory of polymer is added, and along with that there is an active component. Okay, then it is reacted, and then in multiple steps, and then finally the solid catalyst is being filtered out. Now it's very critical, like the final catalyst what we get, it should be free of any impurity, because that again interferes in the polymerization process, where there are like chances of getting some of the off specs or the upsets in the polymerization process. So taking out those residuals are very important. So there is a multiple washing steps, and finally the impurity free catalyst is then being reslurried into the oil and sent to for uses in the polymerization plant. Now, as I said, there are basically three major segments of the polymer, like homopolypropylene, random, and then impact copolymers. So here we can see a simplified process flow diagram for making homopolypropylene. So these catalysts are being commercialized or are used, implemented in the gas phase polymerization process. So it's a fluidized bed reactor technology. If we can see, this is a fluidized bed, and the propylene monomer along with some inert materials being pushed or the flown to the through the bottom of reactor, so that the polymer resin, it's a powder resin of say around average particle size of 400 to 500 micron. So this is being fluidized with this monomer, and this is recirculated till the conversion. Now in this the line the catalyst, co-catalyst, and then the what we can say stereoregularity controlling agent is being added, and polymerization is carried out. So the reaction conditions are kept, the residence time, temperature, partial pressure of monomer, and the level and the ratios of this component are kept in such a way that I can get the polymer with the desired molecular weight, molecular distribution, and particle size to go further. So the unreacted monomers in then taken out from this the top of the fluidized bed reactor. This is compressed again, cooled, because here this polymerization is an exothermic reaction. So taking out heat of this reaction is very important. So again, this unreacted monomer is compressed, cooled, and again sent back to the fluidized bed reactor. So after the formation of polymer, this polymer is sent for further steps, like the dry resin is then sent to different like product chamber, product blow tank, where the what we can say the volatiles are taken out, and the volatile free resin is then sent to different degassing section and then extruder after the additivation, and we get a very good palette which can be converted into different processes like injection molding and for getting some applications like fiber, TQ film, and raffia grades. So at Reliance, using our indigenously developed catalyst technology, we are producing around more than 1.7 million tons polypropylene. So Reliance is having about the 45 to 50% of India's capacity, and we are producing using our catalyst to produce around say 80 to 85% of polymer. So if you see around any polymer, there are 40% chance that it is made using the in-house or indigenously developed catalyst technologies. The next, the great basket is the impact copolymer, where wherever we require very high impact, like say the automobile car bumper, or you can say the washing machine, or you can say the chair where it should absorb a shock, we need to have some rubber content in that polymer chain. Now, how it is done? The first stage, what I have shown here, remains same as I explained in earlier slide. So here, the homopolymer of polypropylene are get produced. Now, the same resin is sent to second reactor, where the ethylene propylene rubber gets incorporated into the matrix. Now, the key here is that rubber should get incorporated within the that porous, what we can say, the particle, because if not, then there are different challenges in processing it, as well as the desired mechanical properties are not achieved. So key here is to design a catalyst where we can get the best matrix, as well as when we send that to second reactor, there should be proper incorporation of rubber into that. And we are successful in achieving this stage also. So with the advanced the catalyst that develop at Reliance, we are producing around 0.5 million of impact copolymer grade using our technology. Uh, this is done, and the technologies are being used at Reliance. Now the way forward is we are working in end-to-end solution. May it be in the different in the entire value chain. May it be monomers. There are opportunities like with the carbon neutrality goals. There are different sources of molecular monomers, say from recycled plastic or green route to great monomer. These are the like emerging area and way forward in the area of the monomers. Then there are the evolution of different catalysts. So there are catalysts which are being the
Last minute,
phthalate-based
please.
catalysts, where we can get very high productivity, high throughputs. And then there are advancement, the phthalate-free catalyst for the cleaner polymer. And also there are advancement in the polymation processes. Like with the advancement in catalyst, we need to have a process which can accommodate that catalyst and give best performance out of that. As well as there are different the innovations in the product. So can we get most out of that for catering the need of different applications? Like one application, as I said, like the polyolefin elastomer for the solar application, and of course different applications developed using these catalysts. So I'm happy to share that we are working on that area, and looking forward for more developments in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Yogeshwar. You did a great job. Um, I forgot to inform you, and of course, Yogesh mentioned that actually because Viren couldn't come, he actually presented this paper on his behalf. I know this is not his area of work, but you did a great job. Finally, we have a presentation by Dr. Narsim Rao Kanna. He is a senior manager, HPCL. In fact, uh, it's very unique in terms of, in science they say that only two people are important, the one who says the first word and the one who says the last word. So, in this entire 4 day conference, the last session, the last speaker is Mr. Manna. Dr. Manna, he is currently Senior Manager HPCL R&D, Green R&D Center in Bangalore, with 8 years of industrial work experience in the areas of interest, including catalyst development for FCC and hydroprocessing technology, CO2 conversion to fuels, and biomass valorization. And he's going to talk to us about HP Nano Pro, an advanced catalyst for maximizing propylene and ethylene yields in FCC. Over to you. Uh,
Good afternoon. Last session, but I will try to keep it as minimum as possible. Just to inform that I am not Dr. Khanna, and I am thankful to Dr. Garg to introduce me as Khanna. Mr. Khanna was having some health issues, so I am Nagendra, Chief Manager Technology Development in HP Green R&D Center. I'll be presenting on his behalf about the work what he did and what are the new things in these things. So as you all aware by the last 3-4 speakers that there is a growth in polymer market, mainly the polyolefins, propylene and ethylene going to PP and PE, which is going to grow at a rate of 5 to 6 CAGR in the coming 10-15 years. So the production of polyolefins is the key for any refining or petchem industry to be in business and also earn money. So there are multiple technologies to produce propylene, which is the key for producing PP. The inner circle represents the technologies for producing propylene, as steam cracker is in majority, followed by FCC, then on-purpose propylene production through PDH routes, etc. The outer circle shows what are the end users of propylene. Like majority goes for polypropylene, some goes to N-butanol production, further to plasticizers, propylene oxide, polyols, acrylonitrile, phenol, etc. The majority goes for polypropylene and majority comes from steam cracking. This is the baseline for this slide. Whereas the research is going towards cracking directly crude, so that majority of capex can be avoided and we can go in single step to produce olefins and also aromatics. So in this direction, HPCL is also working for cracking crude and also produce light olefins along with aromatic. So there is, as you know, cracking requires mainly two catalysts. One is Y-zeolite and also ZSM5, whereas ZSM5 is the major catalyst which produce olefins and Y-zeolite is for cracking. So currently there is a very small percentage of crude oil to chemicals units existing in the world which are at a pilot scale or at a very small scale. Going forward, it is projected that apart from the traditional route, the crude oil to chemical route will take a greater share, roughly around 30%. And as you see in the, sorry, as you see in that trend, the petchem growth is going to grow, whereas the crude going to transport sector is projected to reduce because of penetration of EV or increase in the efficiency of fuels, etc. So the key thing is we need to make polymers. What are the routes available for making the polymers? One is we can go from crude, separate naphtha and convert with various processes to naphtha, use steam cracking, and then separate olefins, make ethylene propylene, go for PEPP. Or else directly take crude to catalytic cracking. There is a platform to produce olefins and then separate the olefins, make PE and PP. So there are, as I explained, there are two catalysts which are very key in this. One is Y-zeolate and ZSM to make ethylene, propylene, and other olefins like butylenes also, which also goes for making other downstream products like SBR, etc. So this is a typical ZSM5 which was checked in our R&D center. So which shows the crystal size and porosity is the key for cracking maybe naphtha and also some amount of kerosene, light kerosene to make olefins. So the key work carried out in this particular structure is how we can make from micro size to a nano size. So nano is 10 to the power of minus 9. So the main work carried out in this research is to make ZSM to a nano size so that we can increase the production of light olefins and also reduce cracking and reduce coke. So the ZSM is used not only in FCC based applications, whereas it goes for environmental applications like SCR, wherein it is used in the vehicles. It's cracking catalyst, as you all know, and it goes in isomerization and aromatization thing also. Biomass derived chemicals like syngas, reactors also it is used, and some amount is used in polymers and petrochemicals. So ZSM is a very big subject which lot of research is going on, and it has a potential to increase olefins. So if you see the difference between conventional ZSM-5 and the new product which is developed by HPCL R&D is due to faster diffusion within the crystal structure, the coke formation is less and it has got higher external surface area. So the required catalyst when compared to the regular GSM will be low. And because of faster diffusion, the side products generation is also less, and it also maximizes the cracking of heaviers unlike the regular GSM. So this is the image, I mean catalyst image, which is synthesized in our R&D. This is the nano ZSM. You can see it is clearly visible that it is nano GSM, and we have run a pilot test to see the activity comparing the regular GSM versus conventional GSM. It is very clear that the dry gas is reducing, the CRN is reducing, and it is shifting to the polypropylene and ethylene. Coke yield is considerably less, 0.4. Cycle oils has reduced and it has shifted to olefins. So this is a promising thing, and it has been scaled up to 1 metric ton scale also, and it is tested at pilot plant level, and it is giving promising still. So we are ready to supply and we are ready to use in our units for producing olefins in this ZSM. There are other advantages for this, as I told, enhanced olefins, lower coke and uniform crystal size. Due to lower hydrogen transfer, the olefin retaining rate is also high, and cycle oil conversion to naphtha and olefins is also higher. So these are the team who has developed under the guidance of Mr. Pramod Kumar, who is the in charge of FCC. Thank you for giving me opportunity, and I thank Dr. Narsimrao Kanna, who is not here for some reasons. Thank you, Garg sir.
Thank you, Nagin. And with that, friends, we come to the end of the session. I don't want to be standing between you and lunch, but like to actually do a quick summary. In fact, we had a great, presentations on basically sustainability in terms of ensuring that our businesses go from crude to chemicals, more in terms of olefins, that is one leg of the petrochemicals, and of course the other leg is aromatics. But mostly we concentrated on polymers like ethylene, propylene, as well as taking them to their polymers. And of course, the first presentation was more in terms of sustainability of the business itself, in terms of making sure that we take care of energy price risk management and hedge accounting. So with that, on your behalf and my personal behalf and on behalf of Mr. Puneet Kumar, Senior Director, EY Renthion, Pathyon, I thank our speakers, and with that, we thank you all for joining us today. Thank you.